Hey everyone, welcome back to Drive On. I'm your host, Scott DeLuzio, and today my guest is Joshua Sears. Joshua is a retired Army Sergeant First Class who's also the president and founder of the 100-4-22 Foundation. Having survived 20 years of service, 4 combat deployments, and wrestled with mental health issues, Joshua turned to golf as a form of therapy. And today we're going to talk about his journey as well as the wonderful work his foundation is doing to support veterans and our nation's heroes. So, before we get into all that, though, Joshua, welcome to the show. I'm really glad to have you here.
Hey, appreciate it. Thank you for having me. Excited about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I am too. We were talking a little bit before we started recording, and I was saying how, I was pretty excited to get into your story and learn a little bit more about your background and how you got into all this. Do you mind telling us a little bit about your personal journey? I know it's kind of a personal side of things, but maybe some of the struggles that inspired you to get to the point where you decided to start your foundation.
Yeah, for sure. So, 4 combat deployments with the infantry, all to Iraq. You experience highs, lows. You see some things you don't want to see that you
Mm-hmm.
wish you could forget, but you don't. And then you go through the journey and the mindset that if I'm taking all the fight away from my battles, my brothers, then I let them down. So you keep everything bottled in, right? And then I had to change
Yeah.
MOSs. I went to a new one, and it was a completely different way of life in the military than what I was used to in the combat arms. And then everything just started piling on and piling on. And I got to a point where, you just couldn't keep it in. And instead of talking about it and going to seek help, like which we advocate for now, I tried to become a statistic. And thankfully, nothing,
Mm.
it didn't happen. The man has a better plan for me. And now I'm seeing that light, which is why I started the foundation with, some really good friends. And so you go through your suicide ideations, you go through your PTSD traumas, your TBI traumas, and you feel like there's no out. But then you start learning that wait a minute, don't be a statistic. There's actually a lot of people that care for you. It feels better to talk about it. Sometimes it hurts. It brings up the traumatic stuff, but you need to you need that to get through to work through it.
Mm-hmm.
So going through all that, and then it finally clicked in my head, like you know what, let me do something that's going to help people to understand, like, don't be a statistic. Like, we'd rather listen to your story than a eulogy.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, everybody has those people you can call that 24 hours a day. They'll jump out of bed to go find you wherever you are, and that's where we come in. Like, that's how we feel now. We meet people along the ways that I didn't know I could do anything to help out, but you inspire us to do something, or you inspire me to get help. Like, so that's a I mean, it just sends like a tickle to your body that you are helping some people without having this degree or knowledge, like, but using something that you enjoy to help.
Yeah, and so um, eh, one of the things that you mentioned there is that there's people out there who will jump out of bed. Doesn't matter if it's 2 o'clock in the morning. They get a phone call and saying, "Hey, I need help with X, Y, and Z. I'm dealing with, I'm
Hmm.
struggling with something." There are people who will jump out of bed for that, and one of the things that I found through talking to veterans is that, oh, I don't want to be a burden is the mindset. I don't want to be a burden on
Hmm.
somebody else, right? Um, but God, I would rather jump out of bed at 2 in the morning and go talk to somebody, help somebody, than have to go to their funeral and
Yes,
never be able to talk to that person again. Like that would be a hell
absolutely.
of a lot more of a burden to me, I think.
Oh
If
yeah.
that's the case, right?
Oh yeah.
So like wake my ass up, man. Like
Yeah,
call me, use that
absolutely.
number, right?
Hmm.
Um
And I think once everybody starts getting over that mindset that, oh, I'm a burden, you are not a burden.
no.
Not at all. If somebody thinks you're a burden, then you need to kick that person out of your circle, because the people that you want in your circle are the ones that are going to help you. Like
Yeah,
you,
100%. Yeah.
so like don't ever feel like you're a burden. I'd rather listen to you call me at 2 o'clock in the morning, and then getting a
100%.
call from
Yeah.
somebody else like, hey man, it happened. Like, I don't want to hear that. I want the call like, hey man, I need you.
Yeah. Now, tell us more about the foundation. So you had your own struggles and your own
Hmm.
journey, that you went through, but you realized that giving back and supporting people in a way that you can, without maybe other kind of forms of therapy. It's outside of that type of thing. Tell us about the foundation, how it helps people.
Yeah. So I started this. It started about 4 years ago, but not as a foundation. Just four friends that walked and played 100 holes of golf to raise money to donate to foundations and organizations that did help those heroes. And I got to thinking a couple years ago, I was like, you know what? I want to make this my own. Like, I want to do something that I can put my name behind. My buddies that are started with me, we can put our name behind and use the sport that we love. We may not be good at it, but it's something that we enjoy. It keeps us active. You meet all kinds of people golfing. So, like, let's do this, and then we can travel the country to events, doing stuff. And meet people, listen to their stories, and let them know like we were there. Like, we still
Mm-hmm.
battle those demons on a daily basis, but we have our trust in our circle that we can talk to, and we know they're going to keep it real with us. So we started the foundation, and you get to meeting people, and you're like, man, like, these people are hurting, and but now they're coming to us, and we're helping. So it sends you a huge sigh of relief. Like, none of us want to. Everybody wants to be rich and famous, but we want to be famous for taking that 22 as much as we can to zero. Like, it ain't gonna happen in our
Right.
lifetime, but if we can start that snowball effect, all right, we got this going, and it's just gonna gain traction and traction. And listening to people and having them tell us, hey, thanks to you, we're saved. Like, we're gonna get the help. We know that there's a lot of people behind us that support us that you don't see, because everything about life now is social media. Everybody, oh, I want likes for this, likes and comments. Like, forget that. Like, get to the people, talk to them. Like, there's a real people are hurting on the inside,
Mm-hmm.
and you never know until you. A simple question: how you doing? Well, I'm not doing good. Most people just keep walking. Well, that's going to stop people in their tracks. Like, why aren't you doing good? Talk to me. And we walk around with
Right.
our shirts on. No one fights alone, with our emblem on the back, and people are like, hey, what does that mean? And you just have that little conversation about what it means, and next thing you know, you're sitting there an hour later talking to people about your foundation. Like, I need help. Well, come
Yeah.
on, we know where to take you. We'll send you to somebody.
And there's so many places too that
Yeah,
you can go to. But again, I think it goes back to that I don't want to be a burden, or I don't want to take a spot from somebody else who might need it
right.
more than me, or
Hmm.
something like that. But like that's the mindset that a lot of people have. But gosh, like sometimes you got to just stop and think like I don't want to say be selfish, but sometimes you got to take care of
Yeah,
yourself too, right?
absolutely.
Um, and like right now, if you in the process of trying to help other people and bring that 22 down as close as you can to zero, if that's your goal, that's your mission, and you got 1,000 other things that are screwed up in your life and that are
Hmm.
piled up, and it's just a train wreck going on
Yeah.
over there. How do you expect that you're going to be able to help anybody? Like you really couldn't, right?
No.
So so let's now take that to everybody else. Let's
Hmm.
turn that mirror around to somebody else
Yeah.
and say, look, man, maybe your mission is for the listeners, maybe your mission is not to help other people, but you have some purpose in life, whatever it
Yeah.
is, whatever your job, maybe you're a family type person, you got kids, a spouse, whatever. You want to be the best version of whatever it is that you are to whoever those people are in your life.
Absolutely.
Um, but if you're just drowning and you got 1,000 things weighing you down, how are you going to do that? So yeah, go and get the help,
Yeah.
so that you can be the best, right?
Like in the military, lead by example. You want to be a leader, you have to lead by example.
Right.
It's not do what I say, not what I do. If I'm telling you to do this, I need to be able to do it myself. So that
Sure.
was the first step I took. Was I finally realized that through a lot of really good friends and family members keeping it real with me. Hey, you're being a dumbass. Go get the help. And at first you're like, no, I'm my ego's like, no, I got it. I'm good. You ain't good. If you're saying no, I'm good,
Right.
then you're not good. Like, get that
Right.
help. That's what we do. So if I'm going to tell you to go help, I need to get help myself. And I seek help. I still do. but it's the best way to go. Kind of
Yeah.
like you got people that like to go to the gym, make sure they're physically strong, their body's in top physical shape. Go to the doctor, make sure your immune system, your insides are good. But the most, the biggest organ in your body, your brain, like why won't you go see somebody to make sure that's still going good, right?
Sure.
That
Sure.
thing controls everything. If your brain's not good, then your body's not good.
Right.
Hey, go get help. There's nothing wrong with it. And if people want to say there's something wrong with it, those are toxic people.
Hmm. Yeah, and yeah, to your point before, like you don't want to be around those people. Those are not the people who are looking out for you, trying to help you make sure that
Hmm.
you can be the best version of you. They're holding you back, and they may be one of those thousand things that are weighing you down.
Yep.
And so it's like it might be time to just to cut the cord and move on from that, right? Um, and yeah, so I want to get back to the foundation and the golf aspect of it. So I know it started off as just you and a few buddies going out and
Yep.
golfing. What are some of the means that the foundation uses to help out the folks who are looking to get involved with the foundation?
Yeah. So, when we create an event or when we have an event, in different parts of the country, like we look for other organizations that take care of veterans and first responders with PTSD, suicide ideation, addiction, and all stuff like that. And we look into at those organizations like, all right, they really make a difference. So all the money that we raise, all the proceeds we donate to them. But we do it essentially as much of a deep dive we can without having like all kinds of um, access to different things, right? So we look at foundations like, all right, they help out doing this, so and they struggle with trying to take care of them. Well, we can help them out if they have a good success rate.
Sure.
At the same time, it helps us stay focused because like our mission is, our vets and first responders, make sure they're good, right? Yeah, we get the luxury of playing golf now, 100 plus holes a day. But somewhere overseas, we got our brothers and sisters that still wearing full battle rattle. You got the fire guys that men and women that suiting up with a fire suit with oxygen, going into a burning building to rescue families, pets. You got police that are trying to protect and getting shot while sitting in their cars. Like
Right.
so, they're doing all the turmoil. Well, that's what we focus on. Like, all right, they're going through bad times. Like, let's our bodies are hurting right now from this, but let's dive in there. We know they need our help, so
Hmm.
that's what we do, and then it really helps us because now it gives us some meaning to fight. Like I know what my drive is. I know what my purpose in life is. Like yeah, we all have our own jobs, full time jobs, but when we do this, like we know we got them that are counting on us,
Sure.
so it makes us feel
Absolutely.
better. Like that purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, those people are they're putting their lives on the line every day, and
Yep.
I don't care what the job is. They're out there, whether it's fire, police, military, all of the first responders. They're out there in dangerous situations a lot of times, and or they're seeing the worst that life
Yeah.
has to offer, right? Even like paramedics and EMS, they
Hmm.
don't come to your house to put you in an ambulance on your best day, when you
Yeah.
when you're super healthy, right? So they're
Absolutely.
seeing like
Yep.
the worst of the worst, right? They're seeing, the heart attacks and the gunshots and the,
Hmm.
all the things that, gosh, you just wouldn't wish on anybody. And they're seeing that day to day. Um, and so it's like, yeah, how can we help these folks? Not just the military, but all these folks.
Yep.
Um, And so you said earlier 100 holes of golf, not 100 rounds.
Hmm.
That'd be kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And that's in a day. How long does that take you to accomplish? How does that work?
The shortest time we've done it was 10 hours. The longest it
Wow.
took us was 13, like just over 13 hours.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
Now, so that's amongst the what the foursome is that
Right.
so
So
like
there's
times
usually
four.
four
How
of
does
us
that
that.
work?
There's usually four of us that do it, but each person is doing that 100 holes. So it's not like we're
Oh
taking
wow.
100 and like, hey, you do 25, I do 25. We're all doing 100 holes. So so
Oh
each
shoot.
person's doing 100. So it takes a while, but we're all there to lift each other up when we're hurting and like can barely swing a golf club, or just legs are tired, got chafing going on, like all kinds of stuff. Backs. A lot of us have back problems because we've spent 20 plus years in the military.
Sure.
So like you know how it is. You get the back problems, and so when you're swinging over a couple hundred shots, and then your
Yeah.
back starts locking up, you're just kind of like, oh, I'm hurting, and then they're like, hey, come on, let's go.
So,
We say the military things to each other that call you out
yeah.
in not so
So,
many friendly words. But it's what we need. It's what we love. It's what we miss about the military. But we do it so we keep each other going and we lift each
sure.
other up. We get through the hard times and we know what the end mission is. And at the end of the day, that's the prize and that's what keeps us driving.
So that's like marathon golf, right?
It
Like
is.
that's like you think about someone who, oh, I'm going to go out for a run. You run for a couple miles, and like that's your
Yeah.
okay. That's pretty good for the day or whatever. But then someone else goes and runs 26 miles or an ultra marathon. They're going
Mhm.
even super crazy, right? This is 100 holes of golf in a day. That to me is just like mind blowing.
Yeah. So it turns out to um because when we do it, we don't pick up after par. Like if you hit par and you didn't hole it out, pick up. No, we hole everything out. So if you shoot a 10 on a hole, you're shooting a 10. And then
Okay.
you walk every step of the way. So it ranges anywhere from 500 swings plus a day to um, averaging around 30 to 35 miles for 100 holes.
Yeah, I was gonna say that like
Yeah.
distance wise, that's
Mhm.
especially I don't know
Yep.
what the courses are that you're on, but I know there's some much shorter courses, par three
Yep.
kind of courses, that those types
Yep.
of things. But I got to imagine that those are not necessarily what you're using, but you're talking pretty long distances on some of those holes. You're talking over 500 yards on some of the
Yep.
holes.
So the first one we did was
That
at Fountain Green Golf Course in Fort Dix, New Jersey. And it was a
okay,
generally flat course. It wasn't too long. I think it was like 6,800 yards for the entire course, but that's why it took us 10 hours. Not super
sure,
short, but not a lengthy one. It was kind of flat. And then the second one we did was at TPC Yasna Plana in Princeton, New Jersey. And that was a very hilly course, 2,700 feet elevation change per 18 holes. So, 100 holes is 5 rounds plus 10 holes. So you're doing that 5 times or 5.5 times, and you're just kind of like, man, I'm tired. And it was very hilly. Like, yeah, some hills to climb, and it
sure,
was the PGA Tour could play, an event there because it's got the length and it's got the difficulty to it. And then, actually, 5 days ago, this past Monday, on the 18th of November, we did we just did our third event in Shelby, North Carolina, 126 holes, and in almost 10 hours, and we were tired. Like we finished the
yeah,
last hole in complete dark and couldn't see the ball flying. So we just kind of like guesstimated where we went, and it was kind of in the right area because we were just tired. We weren't trying to hit it far. We're like, let's just go.
sure.
But we did that, and it was it was a long day.
I gotta imagine, yeah, that takes a lot out of you.
Hmm.
Especially like you're saying with, if you have back issues and knees and hips and all that stuff, you're
Hmm.
twisting and you're swinging, plus carrying your clubs the whole way, and however you guys do that, that takes a lot. I think the most I've played in a day is 36, and
You were tired.
that was rough. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was playing with my brother and my dad. I think at the time, and they towards the end, it's like you're not even doing a practice swing. You're just getting up
Yeah.
and hitting the ball. It's like where it
Yeah.
goes, it goes.
And that's
um,
essentially how we do it. We just walk up and hit the ball. Like we see where we want it to go, we just get there and hit it. Because I mean, time we're on a race for time, so we just get up
sure.
there and hit it. And actually, when you play marathon golf, it kind of works out better. You kind of play a little bit better because you don't really think about stuff. You just kind of hit and go. Like, all right, well, let me go hit it again.
Yeah. Right.
You
Yeah.
know, over 100 holes, like the adrenaline's going, you're excited. But as the day goes on, you start getting drowsy. Then you get everybody's like, let's go, pick it up. So
Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. That is crazy. But so how many people typically are involved in a event like that when you guys go out?
So There's a lot. We have minimum of eight. So we got the four of us that golf, and then we have our four caddies
Okay.
that kind of go up and spot it depending on how the hole plays out, so they can see where it's at, and then they kind of like give us the yardage. So as soon as we get up there, we get the club that we need, swing, and just keep going. Then you
Okay.
have a couple other people that there are lickies and chewies or our gut truck per se, because they have our waters, like our sports drinks, some snacks to keep
Right.
us hydrated and nutrition based. Those Uncrustables are amazing in marathons. Um, then some like power bars and stuff like that. So we usually have at a minimum of eight. Then we have some other people that come in to help support. Just want to watch, or they end up depending on the conditions. If like this past one we just did, it was pretty dewy in the morning, so like our feet got wet. So one person ran to the a Walmart right down the road, grabbed a fresh pair of pack of socks for us, so we can change them out, have dry feet. So there's a whole lot. Um,
Sure.
and then depending what else goes on, like we'll have somebody there taking like a like a videographer per se, take some photos. It's usually just someone that wants to take photos with the iPhone or videos, and we try to piece them together. A bunch of retired guys that don't know much about technology. We just do what we can for now until
Sure.
we, are able to get in a spot where we can have a professional uh, or somebody young that knows how to edit and crop and whatever they do to videos and photos to make it look awesome.
Okay. So I get you're out there, you're doing the marathon golfing, that thing, 100 holes in a day. Again, I'm still trying to wrap my head around all that. But um so then you're fundraising, right? You're raising money to
Mm-hmm.
help support these other organizations that you talked about earlier. Where does that come in? How do people support the organization through what you guys are doing?
Right. So once we determine a location and a golf course that will host us, and then we just start advertising and I don't want to say solicit because it's kind of a everybody looks thinks of the people that knock on your door trying to sell
Sure.
stuff. But we just ask people if they want to contribute to what we call a field of heroes, which we put whole signs like 18 by 24-inch whole signs you see at a golf tournament,
Hmm.
always behind the 18th green, and it's for our veterans and first responders, the EMS correction officers, whether they're currently still serving in their roles, retired, or have perished. We honor them like that if people want to purchase those, and they're behind the 18th green. We have event sponsors, different size packages of different amounts depending on what people want to do, and then pledges like, hey, we just had one person for this event that we just did. He pledged $5 a birdie for the entire team for the entire day throughout 126 holes. Like if I birdied like 15 of those, okay, so that's 15 times five. But if the other three guys did that, now you're doing
Oh, sure.
that times four. So pledges for birdies, or I'll give you this much money per hole, for eagles, hole in ones, or hey, I'm just gonna. You just want to donate? Like we're always donations are always accepted. Um, then it's just really just trying to sell our product per se,
Hmm.
and let people know like why we're doing it and
Yeah.
who we're doing it for, and it all goes to helping our veterans, first responders, and it, it gets to be a pretty good turnout. Like, and then when we do our Field of Heroes, after we hit, every time we play the 18th, once we hole out, we stop. We'll pay our respects. For a minute, we'll say we'll all line up and face our Field of Heroes, and we'll pay our respects, and then we'll go next round. We'll do that every time we hit that hole, and we'll always finish on the 18th hole, and we'll pay our respects, and just complete our round, and the Field of Heroes signs and stuff like when you purchase that, like it's not like all right, you just purchase it, you don't get it, nothing else happens. Well, after the event, we take them all up, and then we'll mail them back to, the person that bought them, so that way they can have that sign for their loved one, or
Sure.
their spouse, or their parents, their sons, daughters, whoever it may be, and so they'll have it for them, and we'll send a little thank you note, thanking them for supporting us and stuff like that nature.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah. And so I was mostly mentioning that because, I know there's probably some listeners out there who are like, okay, this sounds good. We certainly want to help, veterans,
Yeah.
first responders, and things like that. And so, I imagine you have a website that they can go to check out
Yep.
and make donations and sponsor, that type of stuff. Awesome. Um, you know, so coming up, in the future, I know this episode's coming out in February. Um, so I'm not sure if you, and we're recording in November. I'm letting the cat out of the bag for the listeners here. So you may not have an answer to this, but upcoming events. What do you have coming up in 2025?
Yep.
For the listeners.
So right now we're looking at possibly March, maybe out in South Carolina for another marathon.
Okay.
Every June we have our annual golf classic out in Edmond, Oklahoma. That'll be put up in the coming days on our website. So people want to register for that. It's a great time. Our first one was a huge success last year. Um, and then we have a New England director that's looking to put one on in New England probably. I think he said late summer, early fall
Okay.
kind of time frame up in like the Rhode Island area.
Sure.
Um, and then we have a guy that's going to put a poker run on for us, for motorcycle enthusiasts. And every time we schedule an event, we'll put those on our website under the events tab, so
Hmm.
people can check it out, see what's going on, and that's also where you can order your whole signs or just donate now. We also have what we call a wall of heroes, which is we collect patches from different military, first responder units, corrections, EMS units across the nation, and we get to display them like, hey, these are the people that are protecting us and giving us, our luxury to do what we want to do, when we want to do it, how we want to do it. So it's a way to honor those departments across the nation.
Sure. That's awesome. So yeah, 100%. I'm gonna have a link to that website in the show notes for the listeners to check out upcoming events. See, if they want to make donations or buy one of the whole signs or any of those types of things. They can do that through there. But also, register for any of the events as well if that's something that they want to do and they want to challenge themselves on the course. The game's challenging enough. I mean,
Yeah.
but if you want an extra challenge, this
Right.
is
Yeah.
like the extreme of the extreme that I've seen as far as golf goes. But it's pretty awesome that you're doing this, and the more events that you do like this, obviously the more fundraising, and then the more folks that you can help through these donations and things like that. So, what are some of the organizations that you partner with, that you support and help out through these
Yeah.
donations?
So after our first event, we donated all the proceeds to a nonprofit called Veterans for Life USA, where they help veterans and first responders around the country get into treatment programs for addiction and suicide ideation. Brian Paul, he did time in the Oklahoma Guard, deployed a couple times. I was 11 Bravo. Then post military service, he was a Kansas City firefighter, and he struggled with addiction, to alcoholism, suicide ideation. He pretty much hit the bottom of bottom, and then he had somebody that pulled him out of it. Really told him straight up, "Hey, you need to check yourself," and he did, and he got better. He's sober, he's clean, and then he's the president and founder of Veterans for Life USA. Great organization. Brian Paul is a great man. So we donated. Um, the first event, I think, it was just under 3,000 to him, and it helped many veterans and first responders get the treatment they needed. And then we also partnered up with Camp Hope in Houston, Texas, and we were able to send a half dozen veterans to a in treatment program. I think it was like a 9 month in treatment program down there. Got them their family, their lives back, their family's lives back, and they did a complete 180 from their rock bottom, and they're killing it in the world and in their life now, which is great. The second event, we donated to Tunnels to Tower Foundation. Everybody
Okay.
knows Tunnels to Towers. The name
Yep.
speaks for itself. That family does an amazing job taking care of everybody.
Hmm.
So we were honored to be able to do that for them. And then this past event, we just um, partnered with Big Red Bond Retreat in Blythewood, South Carolina. We're donating the proceeds from them. We just, matter of fact, I just got off the phone with them about an hour ago, and with the money that we're donating to them from the money we raised, we were able to help 8 veterans and their families, including the spouses and kids, to get the treatment they need to go through their programs and get their life back on track. And it was just it's amazing to hear how many lives you can change just by doing what we do, and that's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just
100%. That's amazing. When you think about it, when you think about even just one person, like if you came back and said, we helped this one person, um, not only did you improve that one person's life, like if they're married, right? Okay, so now that marriage is now better. So now that you've helped that person too, right? And if they got kids, however many kids they have, 2, 3 kids, whatever, you've helped those people as well. And if they have other family and friends and coworkers and whoever is in their life, you've helped all those people, right? And so now you're looking at a multiplier effect. You
yep,
maybe with one person that you went and helped, you maybe have improved the relationships of, I don't know, 20, 30 people somewhere along the lines,
yep,
depending on how big their family is and, how many coworkers and, friends and things like that they have. But, you could have been helping many, many people, not even realizing it. Right. So, then you multiply that by however many people you
mhm,
actually helped.
yep,
And then you multiply that out by all those people, and it's just huge. It's huge impact. So every little bit, every little thing that you can do, even if you came back and you're like, what, we helped one person today. It's like, to me, that would be a success. I
yes,
would look at that as a successful outing, a successful day, because it's like that one person is now better off than they were when they woke up this morning.
hmm
And the rest of their life now is on an uphill trajectory. That they're
yes,
working for something better, and they're moving up. And whatever it is that they were dealing with, whether it's addiction or mental health or other struggles that they maybe were dealing with, those things are just going to get better through the support that they're getting. And so people like you, with your foundation and the things that you do, I think are just super important because um, if people aren't out there supporting each other, who's going to do it, right? If we're just sitting around
right,
waiting for someone to do it, we could be sitting around waiting for a long time if there
oh
aren't
yeah,
people who stand up and do it. So that's why part of the reason why I wanted to have you on the show. In addition, I wanted to hear your background and your story and all that kind of stuff too. But I wanted to um, shine a light on what it is that you guys are doing and how other folks can help, how they can get involved, how they can participate in some of the events that you have coming up, because you know as frustrating as the game can be, the
oh yeah,
golf, it also could be great for therapy too. Getting outside,
hmm
walking, doing some physical activity. Those things are wonderful for
oh yeah,
your not only your physical health but your mental health too, right? And
yep,
then the camaraderie. If you're playing with other people, whether you know those people or not, you start to build a little connection with those
hmm
people, and that helps too. So yeah, like get out there and
yeah.
start start
That's it.
playing, and
That's one of the
I
greatest
think it's
things
great.
about golf is you can spend 4 hours with the random person
Yeah,
that you get paired up on the golf course. You're gonna have more of a conversation with them than if you go see, not to take away from from their profession, but psychiatrists. A lot of people they kind of look at them like, I don't want to say the wrong thing because
sure.
then it might be misconstrued. But on a golf course, you can care less how you're playing golf. But if you're with good company, you're gonna have great conversations, and it could be much more beneficial to you than not. So, I mean,
Yeah,
that's why we decided to do our foundations that way because we love golf. Like we don't put us outside. Like I'm not a gamer. I can't do video games. Like the people that can, bravo. That stuff is confusing to me. But put me on a golf course, like I may shoot like 120, but I'm gonna have fun shooting at 120. You know,
Sure.
so it's just
You
great.
get your
Like
money's worth out of the round, right?
absolutely, I'm gonna see every inch of that golf course if I'm gonna pay for it. You know, luckily I'm not that bad anymore. That was
Sure.
not too long ago, but um, you just stop meeting random people, good people, and it just it does a lot for you because if you have somebody that not really going to judge you per se, but somebody that's just kind of like they have the same interests as you. You can call them like, "Hey man, I need to get out of the house. Let's go to the golf course. Let's go to the driving range. Just do something
Yeah.
golf related." Or just hey, let's just go grab a bite to eat, a cup of coffee, and talk. So I've seen a lot of um, friendships you know um, and relationships develop from just around the golf with random people, and it's great, especially when our foundation goes into a course and we go in there do our marathons, and we'll go in the day before, meet the staff of the club and the community members, and they'll be like, oh, you start talking to them, and you just realize, man, we're doing something great, like bigger, because when you hear people talking about it, it's like, man, we are really doing a great thing, and you never give yourself that much credit. You're like, you're
Sure.
your own worst critic. So we always want it to be bigger and better. But like, man, you guys, 100 holes, like you guys are crazy. Well, yeah, we were in the military. Of course, we're crazy. You know, but it's just great hearing about that. And this past event, we had a 73-year-old gentleman join our team and did all 126 holes. I did 6 years in Marine Corps during Vietnam, and then 33 years as a Pittsburgh firefighter. That guy was a beast. Like there I am, after 80 holes, like my back was killing me. I was like, man, I can't. And there he is, like, all right, come on, Josh, let's go. Like, bro, you got like 30 years on me, and you just like running circles. Like it made me feel less of a person. I was like, all right, well, I got to catch up. Let's go.
Yeah.
But it's
Well,
amazing.
I think just in general, like that is a good analogy for folks that you want to have in your life. Like you were talking before about people who might, knock you down for going to get help or,
Hmm.
seeing, mental health support and that type of thing. Those are not the kind of people you want in your life. But the people who push you forward,
Hmm.
push you and be like, hey, keep going. Don't quit now.
Yep.
You know, I'm sure there were some words that were used that I won't go there, but you know,
Right. Right.
I, keep pushing you forward though, and so at the end of the day, now you can sit here and you're like, yeah, I played 126 holes. Yeah, it was tough, it was hard, it was painful, but I did it. Just like someone who goes on a ruck march or something, and it's like
Hmm.
15 miles or however long it
Yeah.
is. It's a long way, 20 miles. It's like, yeah, it was tough, it was hard, but I did it. I can look back and be like, yeah, I did it. No big deal,
Hmm.
and be proud of it, right? So those are the types of people that you want in your life. The people who are going to elevate you and
Yep.
push you to do better and better things, right? And I think that's a good takeaway. I think from all of this is that when you're out there, one of the things I love about golf is that, yeah, sure, it's competitive, especially if you're out there with friends and stuff. You
Hmm.
want to win, right? But
Oh yeah.
when somebody hits a good shot, you applaud it, right? You
Absolutely.
you recognize it's a good thing,
Hmm.
right? And when they get a good score, so if I'm playing with someone and they get an eagle or something, I'm like, hell yeah, man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
They may have been kicking my butt in that hole because I got a bogey or something, but it's like, congratulations to them
Hmm.
because so like even though it's competitive, you still are supportive of the other people, and I think that's one of the things I love about the game is that no matter how competitive it gets, even on the professional level, you can still recognize, hey man, that guy had a great round.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
So um so going forward, you talked about a few events that are coming up this year, um, in this coming year, and so yeah, for the folks who are interested in getting involved, playing in any of those events or supporting it through donations or other things like that, go to the website. Again, I'll have the link in the show notes. for the listeners. It's for the listeners though. It is 100, the number 100, four as in the way you would say it in golf, FORE. The number 22, and foundation.org. That's the website, 100-422foundation.org. Again, it'll be in the show notes, so you don't have to write that down or anything. It'll be there for you. But Joshua, I want to thank you again for coming on the show, sharing your journey, what got you to where you are now, and the work that you're doing now with the 100-422 Foundation to support veterans and first responders and all those folks who are out there sacrificing themselves for us. I think it's really a great inspirational thing that you're doing, and so I definitely appreciate all the dedication that you have to these folks, these unsung heroes sometimes, in our society, and I think it's a wonderful thing that you're doing, and I certainly applaud it. And I hope that folks reach out and get involved and participate in some of the upcoming events, or even financially, just making donations to help some of those folks out. So thank you again, like I said, for everything that you're doing and for coming on the show.
Yeah, a pleasure. Thank you for having me.